Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Gary. I hope you've all had a good week and I hope you have all had a good weekend. Hope everyone's doing well. First off, congratulations to Crystal Palace. I'm not sure in the chat tonight if we're going to get any Palace fans, but huge congratulations to Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup. I think football won, didn't it, this weekend? And it's great. It was absolutely great because a lot of young English lads got the name on that FA Cup trophy. You know, Mitchell, Gahey, Wharton, Eze, you know, it was Henderson. It was great to see so many English lads come out on top in the FA Cup, and it was a great atmosphere, and I think Palace deserved it. So yeah, congratulations to them. And that obviously does bring me on tonight's main talking point. But as you all know, when the conversation goes, who knows where it's going to go to. But I think one point out there is, can Eze, and it's a problem we've spoken about for a while on this stream, is that left-hand side, following obviously the FA Cup, but not only that, following a great season, if we're being honest. Can Eze resolve that problem? I have listed on the left-hand side tonight, on the Sunday rundown, you'll see on the side here. So I've got Eze and Gordon and Rashford, Foden, Rodgers, Palmer. 6 players I've just thrown out there for us to discuss regarding that left-hand side. We're probably going to be pushing Eze or likely to replace Eze or whatever, but I want someone to cement the place, really, is what I'm getting at. And Eze is a little bit older. He's a late bloomer. I think they said on the BBC yesterday he's a very late bloomer in his career, 27, 28, I think. But he's playing good football, isn't he? So does he come in? Darius, hi mate, thank you for joining. So happy Crystal Palace won over Man City. I think all the country, and someone's going to come in now and totally deny that, but I would say the vast majority. There's never been a more one-sided fan favourite to win an FA Cup final than what was last night, I think, other than probably when Wigan won it against Man City. And yeah, it was just one of those, wasn't it, where the whole nation seemed to be behind Crystal Palace yesterday. So yeah, it was great for football, and the scenes at the end, fantastic. I mean, it's madness that is Palace's first ever trophy. Crazy stuff. Crystal Palace to Europa League for the first time, yeah, and in Europe, of course. And obviously, it means that England's representatives in European competitions for next year is going to be, 1, vast, and 2, very different. You can end up with Villa, Newcastle, Palace. I'm not saying Villa and Newcastle haven't been in the Champions League recently, but, you know, they're not common English teams, are they, to continuously keep qualifying for Europe or qualify for Europe. So it's great to see that big 6 really come to an end. But I think the way it could go is that there could still potentially be 10 English teams playing in European competitions next season, which is, yeah, mental. Evening Gate 102. How you doing, mate? One of my channel members. Thank you very much for joining. Ricky Grimshaw, evening, mate. Yeah, congratulations, Crystal Palace, indeed. Crystal Oncourt, Eze Wharton, Will Hughes, yeah, Henderson, Gahey. Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I don't know about anybody else. Let me know what you guys do. But when I watch football matches now, I will literally support whichever team has the most amount of English players in the team. And Chelsea, what the hell has happened there? Because Chelsea for years, and I mean for absolutely, even when I was growing up, and then when obviously they were bought by Abramovich, they've never been a club that have fostered or, you know, had a strong English contingent within their team. And now they are. And all of a sudden I find myself supporting Chelsea in a lot of games just because they're stacked with English players. But that's what I do anyway. But I was really glad Palace won just from an English perspective alone. Typical how we are going to get battered by Man City on Tuesday after they drew 0-0 at Southampton and lost the FA Cup final. Well, never say never, mate. You don't know. Gate 102, Eze walks into this team on current form. He's on form and other players aren't doing as great in that position. I predicted Tottenham to win Europa League right now. Okay, well, you know what? I haven't put that out tonight, but we will. We'll discuss that European final. Man United versus Tottenham. Who are people going? I mean, they're both shit, aren't they? But who are we going for? Definitely not cheering Palace. Says War Lion 94. Crystal Oncourt. I've only called Crystal because of my F1 channel. A weird situation because I support Derby. Okay, I'm with you. For some reason, Crystal, I didn't put the 2 and 2 together there. Yes, indeed, the classic left-sided problem. I think Palace has the most players in the squad in Euro 2024, but four, but might be wrong. Henderson, Gahey, Wharton, Eze. They were close, weren't they? if not join. I think they were. Manchester United might lose next week. I mean, this left-hand side, I mean, I saw another tweet actually as well. A tweet, sorry, after the cup final, and obviously it was pointing out Phil Foden, and some of you may have seen it. I'm very heavily on Twitter, as you can tell, but I think it went around other social media networks as well, but particularly Phil Foden. And the tweet was essentially, we need to talk about this man's drop-off and how it's been so severe. And Henry Winter picked up on it and retweeted and saying, is this... Oh no! In fact, no, it wasn't Henry Winter. It was one of my mates who picked up on it and retweeted, saying, "Is it because he's played too many games? You know, is it these 40, 50 games a season that have impacted on him?" And I think, and I'm not saying Foden may not come good, but let's be real here. Has Foden ever really been the player that a lot of people describe him as? And I'm not saying he's not been a good player. He has most definitely been a good player. A really good player. I don't think he's necessarily been, though, this world-beating player that some people seem to assume he ever has been or will be. And I think Phil Foden's great, but he's never really been... I can't remember him ever being as good as Saka, certainly not in an England shirt. Maybe in a Man City shirt when everyone else around him is playing absolutely amazing. But Foden's never stepped up for Man City or England at a time when they're not playing well. Saka certainly has. And I do feel like he has been massively overrated. I think even now, even though he's still obviously very early in his career, it's like there's like a nostalgia thing with Foden where people look back on things with rose-tinted glasses. And I feel like sometimes I think Foden's influence on the game has been overplayed because he's never been that good. You know, he's been really good, but he's never been world class, has he? Or have I got that wrong? I've always I've always thought Saka has consistently been much better than Phil Foden. And I think Phil Foden, it seems like it's always ever been a promise to be this player, or it's great he can keep the ball, or he's had a good probably 3 or 4 games on the bounce. But I don't know. I might be wrong there, so please call me out in the chat, but that's just my theory on that. And it feels like you're asking a player to do something that he hasn't ever done before. Foden was decent in Qatar. He was, but that's about it. However, has not helped he's played in loads of different positions. Yeah, I'll give Southgate props for realising Grealish, Sancho and young Foden were bench players at Euro 2021. Yeah. Often feel like people think Foden's still a new player, yet has had 5 years in England shirt and done that. Yeah, Charlie, it's what I mean. It always feels like, it just seems like we're forever waiting for this Phil Foden to do what your Gary Nevilles and all these so-called pundits and people who are experts in the game. I mean, it's another kettle of fish. I mean, football is the most simplest sport in the world. I don't understand how you can have an expert in it, but Phil Foden he's never been that good, has it? He's been great. He's been a good player. I'm not saying he's not been a good player. I think that's what I keep wanting to emphasise here. But I feel like people are saying that, he's dropped off a cliff, or he's not people are judging him on a player he's never been, in my eyes. That's what it feels like. I feel like some people, or a lot of people, seem to believe that Phil Foden at one point in time was a truly world-class player, pulling up trees and, you know, winning titles for Man City on his own. And he's never been that sort of player, has he? He's only ever been a player who plays well and a player in a team that's playing well, essentially. That's my opinion. Dylan, though, I disagree. Foden was one of the best last season. Premier League points, scoring bangers at the Bernabeu, 2 bangers in the last game of the season. Seals the Premier League time. Okay, yeah, good point. I mean, last season was a strong season for him. Was definitely a strong season for him. But does he play? I'm Dylan, you might be able to tell me here, because I'm genuinely struggling to think of a time when it's great. When England are playing well, Foden's probably had his best games. When Man City are playing well, hence last season when they absolutely dominated, Foden's played really, really well. What I'm getting at is, like, let's say you've got great players, haven't you? And then you've got world-class. I class world-class players, and some people may disagree with me here, but I class world-class players as players who, no matter how bad the team's playing, they're going to do something. They're world-class. That something will always happen, or they're a player you can rely on. I'm struggling to think of any sort of period where a Man City or an England have struggled to play and Phil Foden stood up and been countered, took the game by the scruff of the neck. I might be wrong there, but I just... And again, I go back to the fact that, yes, he was great and he was great last season, but was he world-class last season? I don't know. Maybe the issue with Foden is confidence and mindset when it comes to playing for England. Maybe that comes down to us fans. The other side, though, is obviously this conversation that was doing the rounds a few months back regarding football being ruined in terms of the way... I mean, Pep Guardiola come under a lot of the criticism here for... Is football ruined? Is it too structured now? Do players lose that freedom? You look at Phil Foden in a Man City shirt and he does the job well. He keeps the ball. But there is that... Does he play with freedom? Does it appear like he's playing with freedom? Is Pep in terms of... Is Pep ruining him? I don't know. You know, is he holding him back? Is it time for him to move? I think that's possibly what I'm getting at after this season. Should he move on? He's always scored goals in important moments for City last season. He's shit this season. Okay, yeah. June 7th is my birthday, and I will be 22 years old. I will watch both matches, Austria, Romania, and Andorra in England. Happy birthday for June 7th, Darius. Hope you have a good week. Or a good day, sorry. Still think Tuchel might favour Rashford upon returning from injury. Here's a soft spot for him. Maybe. Romania looked decent, to be fair. Dylan Cullershaw, yeah, I get what you mean, but I guess it depends how you define world class. For me, he was last season. That's fair enough. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I would argue he hasn't ever been world class. I would argue he's a very good player, not world class. And I think what bothers me is sometimes what I'm trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at is that I just feel like sometimes the conversation around Phil Foden is the expectation that he's going to become a player or go back to being a player that I don't ever feel he ever has been. I might be wrong there, though. Anonymous Mango, Pickford, James, Konza, Gahey, Lewis Skelly, Rice, Bellingham, Saka, Rodgers, Rashford and Kane. So you go for Rodgers. I completely understand that. I mean, Lewis Skelly, I said last week, comes straight in. That left-hand side, it's Lewis Skelly for me, and who else? Kevin De Bruyne is that guy for City. Exactly. That's the type of player who, no matter how shit they're playing, De Bruyne will do something. That's a world-class player. Bruno Fernandes for Man United is probably another one who's a standout player who, if you need something to happen, is going to make it happen, isn't he? Saka for Arsenal, dare I say, and for England for that matter. He will come up with something. Bellingham, another one. It's just, Foden is just, he sort of sinks and rises with the performance of the team. That's what I feel like with Phil Foden. And I feel like we run the danger of trying to worry about fitting in a player who maybe we need to look past him. I mean, certainly now we need to look past him. I mean, I don't think any England fan or any fan in this country is crying out for England to pick Phil Foden. I mean, should he get in the next squad? Let's be frank. I mean, this is turning into a Phil Foden night, but should Phil Foden get in the England squad, in the next England squad? Above who? Who? I mean, it's hard to figure out who's available with the under-21s and what they're going to do, but, you know, even though Palmer's not had a great season, Palmer's been better than him. Rodgers has certainly been better than him. Ezzy's been better than him. Gordon's been better than him. Does Phil Foden get anywhere? Does he get in? Lewis Hall is the who else. Palmer, yeah, absolutely right. Palmer can be the guy for England. He needs more game time, though. I just didn't think he needs a rest, so I wouldn't pick him. Eze should start. I mean, Eze's flavour of the month, isn't it? Because of, obviously, the FA Cup final. I mean, at the end of the day, when footballers win trophies, the stock goes up. People talk about them more. It's just what happens, even though it's a team game. And obviously, over the weekend, Eze's the one who's, you know, really come to mind. I mean, it was brilliant, though, I'll be honest with you, because I don't know if anybody watched it. I think it was on the BBC coverage, but the story on Eze that they did, where he grew up in London, the games he played, obviously the fact that he's been rejected so many times. This lad's a genuine lad. And I mean that in the sense of it's not gone to his head. He knows how fortunate he is to be in the position he's in. He's fought a lot harder than most footballers to get where he's supposed to be. He's proud of where he's from. He's proud of his country. I like that lad. I think he's got his head screwed on. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him in an England shirt over these next few games. Most definitely. Palmer's, yeah. I mean, is there anyone I'm missing? Looking at that list, Eze, Gordon, Rashford, Foden, Rodgers, Palmer. Are there any other left wingers I'm missing there? There probably is, because we're that stacked. And I was just making this list because as you can see, I was slightly late starting this evening, so I was quickly trying to get this list together. They were the 6 I thought of. Is there anyone else I'm missing? I mean, that left-hand side is Lewis Hall / Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly certainly for this international window for me, unless he goes with the under-21s. But Lewis Hall, Lewis Skelly, not both, but one or the other. And then another left winger. Harvey Barnes, yeah, okay. He's one I've missed, definitely. I think he might be an outsider, not through me personally feeling that. I just feel like I just don't think he's going to be picked. Hudson-Odoi, could he play left? Does he offer us the width we would want and need? Rio Ungamoa looks promising from the Liverpool Academy. Take your word for it, Dylan, mate. I hope he is, mate. Not seen him, but I hope he is. Him and Eze can fight that spot out at the minute. Can Rodgers play on the left? Yeah, I think he can. I think Rodgers can play left. Yeah, I think he possibly could. I mean, obviously, all this is, we've got the thing of what does Tuchel want them to do, and I think it's clear he does want more traditional wingers. He wants those wingers to be wide and to take a man on, and that's what he's after. And in that mould, you're probably looking at more a Rashford, Gordon, because that's sort of the type of players that I feel like Thomas Tuchel were wanting in that last. In that last international window. I just feel like he's certainly wanting the wingers to be very direct, I think. And Phil Foden is not direct. Palmer possibly is, but he likes to cut inside, doesn't he? Gordon most certainly is direct and will get at them, and he's got a bit of pace, and obviously Rashford. So maybe Gordon and Rashford. I mean, Eze certainly would be direct as well. So maybe those first 3 in that box are probably more favourites than Foden, Rodgers, and Palmer. But Palmer suits the right better. He does, but the problem is no one's shifting Saka. No one is moving Saka. Completely agree with you, Chris Longcore, but you ain't getting Saka out of that spot, are we? So it's either he goes on the left or he doesn't play. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with good players missing out. We've learned that lesson, most definitely. I don't know if anyone else has looked at. I'm jumping between topics here as well, but I don't know if anyone else has seen the plans that Leeds have drawn up for their expansions and stadium. It's a shame that if that does get done, that stadium wouldn't be a Euro 2028. Well, it wouldn't be in time anyway, would it? A Euro stadium, because I don't think it'd be finished till Euro 2030. But no, it looks great plans, and I love it. Good old school stadium with the 4 stands. Looks cracking. Looks absolutely cracking. So yeah, you got lucky Leeds fans there. I thought I'd mention that. I do need to explain to you though this week that I've had, and I am going to digress slightly. We'll come back onto football, but I've had a cracking week this week because one, not is it being my birthday, but 2, I don't know if anyone's seen, but I got to go to the Palace Garden Party this week. And I am going to drop that in because I'm never going to be able to say on a live stream ever again that I got to go to Buckingham Palace Garden Party. And I tell you what, I gave it God Save the King. I gave it some right welly, and it was a fantastic day. And yeah, I put a short on. I did mention on there that I did speak to Charles, and he said it's coming home next summer. But he might have just whispered that. I'm sure he whispered that. But yeah, I needed to mention that because it was class, absolutely class. Goodison Park being converted into Everton Women's Academy. Yeah, it's great stuff. I mean, English, nice to see that history of the stadium. I mean, it's going to be, I don't know how they're going to maintain a stadium of that size. I mean, hopefully they do get some numbers through the door, but I mean, it's fair play from Everton because that stadium, even though, yes, it won't have the same level, probably as attention and detail as what it has now, but obviously grounds like that take a lot of money to run. Photos look class, Gary. Thanks, mate. Yeah, it was a great day. Solomon, how come? Look great. It was through work. I just got invited through work, so services to education and stuff. But yeah, it was, oh God, it was so good. So good. Josh, evening, mate. Thank you for joining. Another channel member. Got 3 channel members on now this evening. Hope you're doing well. Good turnout tonight by the looks of it. We've been discussing the left again, and obviously Eze being FA Cup champion. Is it? I'm just going back to that thing that I mentioned earlier. Is it just me? So let's say I don't know whoever. I mean, I know you guys all put in the chat who you support and stuff, but it's very hard for me to remember who put what unless you've got something obvious in your name and stuff. I sort of have a rough inclination and a rough idea of who supports who. But does anybody else watch a football game now and literally support the team that has the most amount of English players in it? Excuse me, if you're a neutral. Or is that just something I do? I just realised Namasu Loda switched nations, really. Has Greenwood switched nations? Has that actually happened? I heard that he was going to, because if he has, we'll get the bubbly out and celebrate. But yeah, it was. I do that all the time, and it's really got. There's a really good. I support Derby, so well. Yeah, but okay. Let's say if you're watching a Premier League game, which you may do, obviously from time to time, or you're watching the FA Cup final, for example. How do you pick who you? Well, you know what I mean by support. I mean want to win. England can play with a midfield 3: Rice, Bellingham, Wharton, DM, or Palmer or Rodgers as attacking threat. The problem is, right. We've had this conversation a couple of times. I really want. I don't know about anybody else. Right, we've got to get Rice up the pitch, haven't we? We've got to get Declan Rice up the pitch. If this season has taught us anything about Declan Rice, it's like having a Rolls Royce in your garage, leaving him at the back. We've got to get him up front because he's absolutely beasted this season, playing a far more attacking role. And I know the problem is bloody... Let's go back to Gerrard and Lampard, where you got Bellingham and Rice potentially trying to do the same gig. Trying to turn up, put the same shift in, get in each other's way, and all that lot. But I think there's room for both. But I agree, Warlight. We've got to get Rice up the pitch. We've got to get him up. And I think that's the one big learning curve I've had, in particular, after Gareth Southgate, where I think I think Gareth Southgate got that wrong with Rice. I think he was wasted. He was wasted playing him so deep. But I get why he did, because he didn't really have anyone else, or not consistently enough. But we've got to get Rice further up. I'm with you, Gary. Try and support teams with the most English players, unless I don't like the team. Excuse me. No way you can be picked for England if you play in France, unless you're Jordan Hendo. I think Newcastle are top for English players minutes this season in the Prem. Gate 102, okay. Mackenzie Hunt plays for UAE. Agreed Rice to be freed into the number 8 role. Fleetwood Mackenzie's Hunt. Yeah, absolutely, Solomon. We've got to get him up, haven't we? I mean, it's just look how good he's been. I mean, even against PSG, where even at home where Arsenal weren't great, Rice has been class this season. Declan Rice, Lewis Skelly, Lewis Hall, Eze. These are all English players who have had a fantastic season. The midfield has to be Rice, Wharton, Bellingham next summer. Does he protect? I mean, I'm going back to this thing again where the under-21 tournament's getting in the way. But I was going to say he's got the potential, obviously, to play those 3 in these up-and-coming fixtures, hasn't he? But I just can't see Adam Wharton being picked for the senior squad. But possibly, I think it's pretty clear now that's the midfield 3 everybody wants. So where's the number 6 coming from? Wharton be ready in a year's time. Is he ready now? I mean, you listen to other people and everyone's crying out for him, saying he's absolutely ready. I'm adamant, though, Rice has got to be freed up. Or maybe a bit of a hybrid role, a bit like he does for Arsenal. Let's be real. He's not like he's all out and out attack for Arsenal, is it? He does sort of balance in terms of his attacking and defensive duties, and maybe that's what Rice does. But we've got to get Rice further up the pitch, and we never did that under Gareth Southgate. Foden has been so poor this season, shouldn't be in the next squad, in my opinion. Zach, I completely agree, mate, and this is what we were discussing earlier. He don't get in, does he? I mean, even though, if we're being honest, Tuchel's going to he's going to have quite a restricted squad available because of the under-21 summer tournament coming up and injuries and whatever. I still don't think Foden gets in the squad. I mean, he shouldn't. I think that's the point. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody who disagrees with that, no matter who you are. I think most people would agree that Phil Foden shouldn't get in this next squad. He shouldn't be in it. Will he, though? I think he probably will be. And I think because of the Under-21 tournament and injuries and whatever, and teams playing late in Europe or whatever, I think he might get in. I think that's what's going to save him. The timing of this squad, if I'm honest with you. I think it's going to be an odd squad. I've said this before. I think we all need to brace ourselves for a disappointing squad and some surprises, but I think Tuchel's hands are very much tied in this next squad with other cup finals still to come, with the Under-21 Summers Tournament. I think it's a squad that it's not picking itself because of injuries, but it's going to have to pick players that wouldn't probably necessarily be anywhere near this squad on current form, or if it was the tournament next week. So we do have to brace ourselves for that. I'm pretty certain about that. But it'll be enough. I mean, it's got to be enough, hasn't it? It's definitely going to be enough. I mean, what is it? 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away till England are back in action. I think the key for Tuchel is keep establishing that style of play. And I think that's what I'm most interested about. And it was clear how he didn't want to play two holding midfielders. He wanted a lot, to come through the wings. And I want him to keep persisting with that. We've got to try and establish an identity now. I don't want him experimenting again. Just keep playing the system. So whoever comes in, it's clear what he wants them to do. I think that'll be really, really important, both for the players and for those that aren't picked as well. I mean, Henderson has really staked his claim, hasn't he, as well? Just while we're on keepers, because keepers are a position we don't necessarily talk about too much. Henderson's definitely earned his place back in this England squad. Also want to see more Reece James. I mean, he's staying fit, isn't he? He's staying fit, and I was the one who I'd punched his card. I'd thought, no, I don't want him back. He's done, but he's staying fit and he's playing well. He's playing really, really well. Could the cup final? I mean, he might get picked, but could the fact that he's playing in the cup final stop him from being picked to this next squad? Possibly. The FA Cup final was perfect. English goal scorer and an English keeper wearing a cap, keeping a clean sheet and saving a pen, just perfect. I mean, I did think in the back of my mind, I love the fact that even in 2025, Crystal Palace's first trophy has been won because of a goal by an Englishman, and that's how it should be. That history will always stay there. I love that. Yep, Henderson clear number 2. Henderson scored his first for Ajax today. Great. Is he still hated over there? Well, not hated, but I know he had some. He's had a troubled relationship, hasn't he, with those Ajax supporters? But yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. I mean, look, I think Henderson might be in the squad. 100%, I think he's going to be in the squad. Let me have a look. I mean, obviously, it's good to see. I'm just pulling up the results. It's good to see Everton won their final game of the season at home, in their old ground. Arsenal obviously secured Champions League football. Forest is still clinging on. I think, yeah. I mean, the other couple of people I want to. So the left is. I mean, what do we do on the right? Is what Trent, the left. A lot of questions. I am this international window is notorious though for being quite a poor one, and I mean in terms of squad availability and the players wanting to be there. Sorry, so it's difficult for that. Wasn't here last week for Kane winning, but glad for him. Oh, it was great. I mean, he won. He's tweeted this week about him being top goal scorer in the Bundesliga as well, which was absolutely brilliant. England to bid for 2038 World Cup, Euro 2028, UK and Republic of Ireland, 2038 World Cup, England. All I'm going to say on that, Ricky, is I cannot believe we haven't had it since '66. And what, US are coming on to their third time or something, or second, third, whatever, and we've had it once since '66. It's an absolute disgrace. It's got to come to England in 2038. Wharton is one of the few English mids that I see actually sticking to their position. Mainu, Bellingham, Rice all want to play further forward. I mean, what's happening with Mainu? He's not pushed on this season, has he? He's not had this season. I mean, obviously he's playing in an absolute fucking garbage team, but he ain't pushed. I know he's had injuries as well. I know he's had injury problems. But yeah, he has really struggled. Absolutely. Looking. I wondered why I was stuck on a cushion. Dean Henderson's definitely looking a solid number one. Yeah, Mainu has been injured, but he's just not. Even when he's coming, he's not really been that player he has been. It's difficult. I mean, it is a worry when a player so young is getting so many injuries in a season. Doesn't usually start to turn around. That's Man United, he needs to get out of there. I mean, obviously, we're all hoping and praying Rashford leaves, and I think it looks like he's going to. He may go to Spain, actually. Curtis Jones has advanced more than Main. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, at the minute, I'd have Curtis Jones in above Kobe Mainu, 100%. The Women's World Cup is in England 2035, so we are bidding for the men's in 2038, according to Sky Sports News the other day. Bring it on. Bring it on. 2030s are going to be a cracking decade then, by the looks of it. I mean, all of a sudden I'm looking at Man United players who need to leave because they're English, and then Rashford needs to go, potentially Mainu needs to go. I mean, does Harry Maguire need to leave? Because all he gets is hate. I mean, actually, I suppose some Man United fans now, I think he is being appreciated a lot more now. It's just this. I don't know. You want to see these players playing with a bit of love and passion, don't you? And start to, because essentially we want them all playing out the skin. We want Thomas Tuchel to have a massive headache in this time in 12 months' time. There's 20 of you in chat now or on the stream. I want the squad and depth to be that strong that if we all picked a squad, they would all be different because there's that much talent. And at the minute, and I know you might say that might be the case now, but it's not for probably 95% of the squad. I think we're arguing about 5 or 6%. I want it to be that stacked. I want to be choosing choosing between 7 centre mids and, 3 left backs and whatever. Brutally honest, Indonesia, Philippines, Australia are getting 2038 World Cup. I mean, if they've said they want it, FIFA will definitely chuck it out there, won't they? They want to go where the money is, and they also want to go, apparently, to teams that haven't had it before. I mean, the idea of continuously having World Cups in countries that aren't that bothered about football is a bit shit and a bit bizarre, really. But, anyhow, such is the world, should we say. But, yeah, I think that's why I was most looking forward to the Euros at Germany last year, is because it felt like the first time in a long time that just a genuine footballing country had a tournament. A sole country, that was. Because even the last Euros before that, it was split across the continent, wasn't it? It just felt like more of a traditional tournament as a child, where tournaments were happening in football-loving countries and you could get behind it and see all the stadiums, fans and cities and stuff. But these cross-country bloody tournaments... Would be good to see Elliot Anderson playing football in Europe for Forest next season. I mean, yeah, a lot of. I mean, let's hope Forest and Palace. All these teams that have a good English cohort, Aston Villa as well. Let's hope they can keep hold of them. Or if not, and this is the problem, is Adam Wharton staying at Palace, for example? Moves can have a massive impact on players, huge impact. I mean, it's either, they go on and absolutely succeed, or they they crash and burn, and obviously that's what potentially looking at with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Indonesia want it badly. Philippines are iffy, like basketball more, and Australia, meh. To be fair, South Africa and Qatar were good. I suppose they were actually, but it's not. They were good, but there wasn't. You didn't see it on the TV. You didn't get that. It's that the fact that you were pulling out. The stadiums were just cookie cutter stadiums. The culture wasn't there in regards to the football. It became a mixing pot for the football fans, but I think it's always healthy if you've got a strong host nation. That's me. I think it's just because I'm more old school, and that's what I remember as a child. But I like the idea of having a strong home nation, and I feel like that was missed at Qatar. Watching the hosts in an opening of a tournament is always pretty cool. Australia do have amazing stadiums throughout the country. Yeah. 6 countries are hosting the 2030 World Cup across 2 continents. It's outrageous. I mean, honestly. Qatar felt more like a 15-minute city experiment. I mean, it was great for getting around, and obviously the close, knit community of it and fan bases and all that, but it was too corporate. It was too, where was the home nation? I know they had fans in there and stuff like that, but it's not the same as watching like a Brazil at home, or, when they host the World Cup, or Germany, or, proper footballing countries. But then I suppose then it does really limit who can potentially host it. This idea that 4 different countries keep hosting tournaments. I know the problem is the cost as well, and the fact that most countries probably don't have enough stadiums to host tournaments on their own, which is probably the bit, particularly now. I mean, definitely now that the World Cup from that period will be up to 48. In fact, by 2030s, I mean, late 2030s, you might be looking at a 62 World Cup or something. That it'll be outrageous. So that's the problem. But the time of the games in Qatar was perfect. 4 games could watch, carrying you through the workday tonight. Yeah, I suppose that was, touche there, Solomon. You're absolutely right. The Philippines, Australia, and New Zealand, or whatever it's going to be, or will be Indonesia. Got to be an absolute. Yeah, there'll be a lot of 2-3 o'clock in the morning kickoffs there, won't there? Anyone remember when it was in Japan? No, Korea. Sorry, I remember the Korea World Cup. That was couple of 2-3 o'clock in the morning kickoffs. I mean, I suppose the Qatar one as well, which we all forget and not even mention, is obviously it was like 2-3 weeks before Christmas. And when you look back, it still doesn't feel like that was the time of the year. It's bizarre. It was such a bizarre tournament. I still look back at that World Cup and think we were watching it in the middle of the summer. Dead weird. And obviously, even when you watch videos of people at the grounds now, because it's hot, obviously it's hot there still, it just looks like it's the summer. So you just completely forget that in the UK we were watching that everywhere. We were watching that in, 2-3 weeks before bloody Christmas. It's mental. Mars 2066. Honestly, can you imagine the size of the... So that's why you're going to end up with continents hosting it again. Because even your England's, US's, and, countries that have got 10 stadiums at 56,000 is not going to be enough. It felt like the summer, but then my dad put on Love Actually after the France defeat to take his mind off the game. What, just to depress himself even more? No atmosphere, though. Yeah. I love that, mate. No atmosphere, you're right. Mars. There were League One, League Two, and non-league games played during World Cup 2022. Yeah, it was mad. It was mad, and I completely forget that, even now. And it just took me, for some reason, I just remember then, actually, no, we were watching it with I had my Christmas tree up. True, was freezing watching outside in some projector pub garden. Yeah, and I mean, look, it was great for an experiment, but let's be honest, it's a different kettle of fish in it when it's in the middle of summer. It was great. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. Looking back, I did love Qatar in terms of it being at that time of year as a one-off. But I want summer tournaments. Definitely want summer tournaments. There's going to be another one, isn't there? Though, is it Saudi Arabia? Someone like that is hosting one of the World Cups. I'm sure they are. I imagine a Winter World Cup would happen again if it's too hot in some host countries such as Saudi Arabia. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it will do. 100%, mate. I mean, it'll 100% be a Winter World Cup again. Yeah, yeah. Saudi's no way they're going to play in Saudi in the middle of summer. No way. Yeah, that'll be a Winter World Cup. 1,000%. I mean, looking at those, I mean, these dates we're looking at here, look. 2038, 2030, 2034. There's not a single, in fact, there might be one or two, your Lewis Skellies or stuff like that are 18, but almost all the players we're talking about now, there'll be a whole different generation of England players we'll be talking about. Lewis Skelly, if he's still playing, will be the experienced squad member. At least at the winter time of year, we were able to full court press, unlike some of Euros just been. I mean, I would say that. I mean, everyone was absolutely... Did it make for better football? It's a very good point, actually, Solomon. It's a good discussion to have because... And I haven't seen many people talk about it, actually. The contrast between the energy and the quality of football at the World Cup compared to what we saw at the following Euros tournament, where one was in the middle of the season for European clubs mainly and a lot of teams around the world, and the other one was at the end of the season. And if we're being honest, pretty night and day, wasn't it? Because I think for football, we've said before, in terms of football quality, the last Euros was fucking shite. It was terrible. Everyone looked shagged out. Everyone looked knackered. Absolutely knackered. It's a really good point, that, actually. England 2066 will be class, although I will be 70 in my nursing home with a pack of Werther's Original. Yeah, I mean, 2066, we'll all be pushing it, mate. Only Central Asia like Iran, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan have not hosted World Cup. Well, get ready, mate. Get ready. Eastern Europe haven't, I know Russia have, but I'm on about, your Romania, Bulgaria, and all these sorts of places. And that's probably the one. I mean, that's where if UEFA bring it back to Europe, they'll want your Poland's, those sorts of countries that haven't hosted it before, never had the opportunity to do. That's who they'll want to host it. Can't wait for the tournament next year. It can't come soon enough. The problem is it takes forever, but then it comes around very quickly, doesn't it? Looking forward to the Lionesses and under 21s this year. Yeah, remember I'll be live streaming all those, everybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a graphic. I'll get it out on my page. I need to work it out actually because I am away in Menorca for the last week of June. So yeah, I can't think of the time. I've no idea looking at the full tournament, but I possibly may miss some of the games. Could Saudi Arabia even ever host the Euros? Of course it bloody could. Of course it could. I mean, that's the next thing, isn't it? The Copa America in Europe and the Euros in South America into bollocks with the fans. I can believe that happening. 100% I can see that happening. It's a bit like Olympics where the games can come thick and fast and disappear in a blink. Yeah, it will be. I mean, for some, you're 3 games. I mean, we're waiting forever, and it could be 3 games and you're out, or 2 games and you're out. I'm just desperate. I mean, come on, England, just win something. Win one thing. Ricky, you've got me panicking because of you putting that date of 2066, saying you'll be in your 70s, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, just win something, England. I don't want to be in my 60s thinking, is it going to be coming home, or are we ever going to win it? Just get over the line, please. It's exhausting. Thoughts on Ancelotti at Brazil makes England's managerial decisions seem more normal. Yeah, I mean it's a good appointment for Brazil, isn't it? I think the thing is with Ancelotti is you can't argue with his record, can you, really? And I think he's one that certainly can go to different teams and make a quick impact. I think they'll be better under Ancelotti. I do think Ancelotti does rely on just individual world class players though, and has done throughout his career. But he's got them in Brazil. And I think he'll make him a good, tough team to beat. I remember the Olympics in 2012 when North Korea walked off after the South Korea flag was shown by mistake. I mean, I've heard a few of those where the wrong national anthem's been played as well. World Cup 2014 was horrendous. You wait 4 years for World Cup, and England last four. I know. I remember that. I mean, we're so shit, weren't we? To be fair, how did England get Italy and Uruguay in the same group? Costa Rica shocked us all. I mean, yeah, Costa Rica got through, didn't they? Yeah, but even so, you just think, come on, England. We'd have got it because of our FIFA rankings at the time, I bet, and our performance. And this is why everything matters. Continuously staying high in those FIFA rankings massively matters. And the problem is again, I know these are from different continents, but if you put Italy, Uruguay, and Costa Rica in a qualifying group for the World Cup, England win every single game and go through easier. As soon as we get to the World Cup, we can't win a single game. Looking back on that team, though, at that time, it was an age. It was a team in transition. It just felt like a bit of a. It just never really seemed like it was on, did it? It was. We just seemed like we were going there just to make up the numbers a little bit. Imagine if Costa Coffee reached a semi-final. Costa Rica, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, they did well, didn't they? England won their 2014 qualifying group. Theoretically, England should have had someone like Nigeria and Korea. Lampard and Gerrard probably shouldn't have been in the squad at that tournament. Yeah, it was. I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but looking back, it was sort of that. It was the turning point, really, wasn't it? Or one of the turning points. Obviously, we all know what the true turning point was, which was that Kin Iceland game. But yeah, it was. It just never. I remember watching it, and we were just shit all tournament, weren't we? I'm still nostalgic for 2010, as it feels like yesterday. I mean the 2018 World Cup was pretty good, wasn't it? I remember I was watching England versus the US at O2 Academy in Sheffield, and England scored in the first few minutes, and the absolute carnage. I still can't believe we drew to the US in that game, but yeah, I mean, yeah, 2018 is going to take some beating. I mean, it will be beating if we win the damn thing, but it's going to take some beating. I think this is this generation's like Euro 96, if you like. That's the tournament I think a lot of people will. Yeah, Rob Green, fucking useless. Absolute useless. We were far better than them that game. But I mean, that team was just consistently just fucking it up when we're, all promise and no delivery. For 10 years they did that. 2018 still my favourite World Cup for England. 2014 beats it for pure drama. 2022 was enjoyable. I remember we had fans. If Kane had scored that penalty, I'm sure we would have gone on to win. Yeah, I mean the 2022. I think the reason I'll be honest with you, that by far that is the tournament, the best tournament England have ever played in that I've watched. Hands down. The only reason why I don't pick that as more fun than 2018 is because I'm still so bitter that we should have beat France that night. Rooney having a go at the fans after Algeria. I'm a fucking idiot. Well, what does he expect after that absolute shambles? The idea that you can't boo your own... And I spoke about booing the other week, about England fans booing another club, because I was speaking about England playing in Forest and at Villa Park, and how certain players may get booed and stuff like that. I don't agree with booing after the game, before the game, sorry. But if your teams turn up and they've been shit, and people have paid a fortune to go and watch them, and you've waited 4 years for it, and you think they haven't done good enough, and they haven't, let's be real. If we can't beat Algeria, I'm sorry, they haven't done enough, then I'm sorry, you've got a right. Fans have got a right to boo if they want to. Said this in my podcast, but in 2018, I thought it might be as good as it got, but it was just the start. Chris Loncourt, 2014, England, Italy, Spain, Portugal, group to Brazil, 7-1 loss, and Argentina battle jobs in 2014. I mean, as a non-fan, that 7-1 was just probably up that. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and this is going to sound like a real dick thing to do, and I hope there's no Brazil fans in here, but genuinely, I always feel like no matter how bad it gets, or, you know, even at times when I feel really low that yet again it ain't come home for us, sometimes I go back and watch that Brazil get battered at home, and I always think that that's never happened to us, because that is just, it's horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. And those Brazil fans, I don't know how Brazil have ever got out, and I don't think they have. I mean, let's be real, I don't think they have yet, have they? I don't think Brazil have fully recovered from that night. It's that bad. And sometimes I go and watch it to make me feel better as an England fan. I'm not even joking. Probably acted hard to impress the grannies. I know, the mess. Slippy Gerrard lost to Luis Suarez in 2014. Oh, that rat. The Lampard ghost goal and 4-1 dribbling was the cherry on the top in South Africa. The bees were annoying, bloody vuvuzelas. Yeah, it was annoying. 2014 was my favourite World Cup. Brazil still have therapy. Could you imagine if that happened to us? That's what I mean. I'm not even. I genuinely mean that. I am not even joking. I have watched that on 3 or 4 occasions, and sometimes I've watched it and I'm just watching it with the glee, knowing that isn't us, and it made me feel better. Genuinely made me feel better about being an England fan, because that, you know, no matter how bad it might get, the loss to Iceland pales in complete insignificance to losing 7-1 at home at your own World Cup. I don't care if it's Germany, but losing 7-1 at home in your own World Cup and your Brazil is just, it's like a nightmare. You know those nightmares where you're running around naked? It's that bad. It is that terrifying. Remember Germany in 2018? That was shocking from their standards. Yeah, it was shit. Our closest was England 0, Hungary 4. I mean, that was bad, but it's just, that's what I mean. Just add another 3 odd goals and put it in a major game at a World Cup. It's just, honestly, it's just, you cannot get worse than that. Milner and Defoe combining against Slovenia was their only out in 2010, but in hindsight it prolonged our pain because of Roy England. I mean, Roy Hodgson was really poor, wasn't it? At tournaments, he was shocking. And he should have gone. He stuck on too long. And I think that's probably what was playing on a lot of people's fears with Gareth Southgate. And I know, ultimately, again, hindsight in mind, people are right, because Gareth Southgate didn't go on and win anything, but he got us to another final. I think Gareth Southgate left at the absolutely appropriate time. I don't think he lasted too long. I don't think he overstayed his welcome. Roy Hodgson most certainly did. Yeah, 100%, Ricky. 100%. So was Fabio Capello. I mean, Fabio Capello, he only took us to one tournament, didn't he? Then he had a fallout because didn't the FA strip John Terry of the captaincy because of the off-field stuff, and then Capello resigned because of that. Yeah, but some people were calling for Southgate to go after the last World Cup. And in hindsight, even though we didn't go on and win the Euros, we got to a final. So it was completely the right thing for him to do to stay on. But I think he's gone at the right time now. Roy Hodgson outstayed his welcome for too long. Yeah, but no, Capello only took us to one World Cup. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he only took us to one tournament. Could be wrong there. I'm sure he had a row in between. Always baffles me when people say Southgate should have left after Carl when we literally played such great football that tournament. Genuinely, I mean, and I know it's hard to keep going on about it. We were class, weren't we? We were so good. We were so. I think if that ref wasn't an absolute piece of shit, and Harry Kane just decided to turn into, I don't know, Emil Eske, the most important penalty of his life. It was more how often we saw Capello mumble in press conferences and clearly had no passion. He went there for a paycheck, didn't he, Crystal? Absolutely. I mean, I ran a manager who couldn't even speak English. Capello resigned before 2012, Euros after one tour. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I knew he only took us to one tournament. He resigned over the John Terry thing, didn't he? Because the FA stripped him of his captaincy. Because that was either that was because of the racism thing or something to do with an affair, wasn't it? Or another scandal that John Terry was involved in. The man's a rat. But yeah, I remember the FA pulled his captaincy and Capello resigned because of it. Which is bizarre because, let's be honest, does the captain of the football club really matter now? It may do off the pitch, but does it really matter on it? Does it matter at a tournament? Well, I mean, comment on that below. But yeah, I mean, in terms of this, in terms of the next squad, I think Eze's coming in on that left-hand side, isn't he? He's a standout player, very much in fashion at the minute. He's not going to be at the 21s. He's just won the FA Cup. He's not going to be in a European final. Eze's going to be starting on the left, surely. And he's going to be fit. Surely he's going to be our left winger against Andorra, on the 7th of June. So I think now's his chance, isn't it? Now's his chance. I mean, if he puts in a good performance, I know it's against Andorra, but if he puts in a strong performance, then it's up to everybody else then to come and claim it off him. You know, carry on what he's doing with his club. I think Eze would be wise to stay at Crystal Palace, and I hope he does. And I think ultimately we're going to see what Eze's all about in an England shirt. Right. It is coming up to the hour. As you all know, we usually last about an hour. When's the squad out for the June fixtures? It's usually like midweek, a week or two before. I'm predicting it's either going to be the 21st or the 28th. Possibly around that time. Probably the week commencing the 26th. I think Adam Wharton should stay one more season at Palace. Possibly. I think it's... We don't want him to go to a Man United, do we? Or somewhere like that. Or Spurs or maybe Newcastle, Villa. I wouldn't moan if we went there, but we've got to be careful with these moves in the summer because some of these players, we've got to see what happens with Trent because that may not work out there. But yes, we might, in 4 or 5 months' time, we might be talking about these players very differently because they've completely bombed with the summer transfer. But let's hope not. Anyway, I hope you've all had a good evening. Thank you everyone for joining me. It's been a good chat tonight. Been a good chat. A lot of people on. Not a huge amount of views, but a lot of consistent people on tonight, which has been great for the topic of discussion. Loads of different things. Couple of European finals coming up, so I hope you all enjoy those. I know some of you have got exams and things, so the best of luck to those if you are doing them. Don't panic too much. And in the next 3 weeks, we'll have an England game. I'll be live streaming next Sunday. And obviously, look forward. Please, I'll be putting out some videos regarding my previews, and then I'll be putting some, like a planner out in terms of the games I'll be live streaming for the under-21s and the Lionesses as well. So plenty to look forward to. So if you're new here, if you haven't subscribed, if you've been in the chat all night and you want to get involved, please join. Share this with your friends as well. It's a bit of another case where my subscriber count has really slowed up again. And it always does outside of England game, and I'll put some videos out when it comes up again, and yeah, it will change again. But let's see. But hopefully, yeah, share it with your mates. It'd be nice to get a few more subs coming in. Are you live streaming on Thursday for Czech Republic? Yes. Yeah, I will be. Yeah, 100%. So I just need to get the planner sorted. I've got a graphic I've done for it. So yeah, I will see you all in the week. I hope you all have a good week, whatever you're doing. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you all on my next video. The fan of the week for tonight, by the way, is, I'm going to give it Ricky. He's been great tonight. My usual channel members, legends as always, but I think, Ricky, you've done great on the chat tonight. Some really interesting points you've made. And Solomon, great to see you tonight as well. Okay, cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great week at work, school, or whatever you're doing. See you all